Hello everybody. So as you can see, we're going to skip over the last little bit of the last section to go into Unit 6, which is going to be Financial Mathematics. So we're going to start into Section 8.1 today, and we'll probably only get through half of it, probably less than half of it, and then we'll do the rest next week. Okay? So, um, as you can see, we're going to be discussing simple and compound interest. So interest interest can be involved in a lot of things in a lot of different ways. We're going to just discuss interest for the most part when we are putting money into something, otherwise known as an investment. Okay, so anytime you put money into a bank account, essentially you're loaning the bank that money to go invest into other things. And in exchange, the bank gives you a little bit of extra money. We call interest. Okay. So like I said, there's two kinds of interest we're going to talk about. I already said what it was. The first one's going to be simple interest, and the other one's going to be compound interest. Okay, so we'll talk about simple interest today, and then we'll go into compound next week. Not a lot of things or not a lot of accounts or not a lot of investments really use simple interest. Some do. It's usually reserved for short-term investments, things that won't last a very long time. It's a pretty simple formula to calculate. I equals PRT. So what these things are is I is the interest, of course, the extra money you get. P is called the principal amount. Otherwise known as the original amount. So for example, if you put $500 into an account and you get, I don't know, $20 of interest on it, 500 would be your principal amount, the amount that you started with. R is your interest rate as a decimal. Usually interest rate is given as a percentage, but if we're going to calculate using this formula, it's going to have to be in a decimal. And finally, T is time, the amount of time we're gaining interest, and that's given in years. So if it's not given to you in years, you're going to have to convert it into years. Okay, so we can do an example. I'll show you how this formula works. This one's straight out of your book. Millie invests $2,350 into a bank account, and that pays her 7% interest. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to highlight some very important things. So the money she put in, the interest rate, it's simple interest per year. Okay. Well, again, we're going to learn about compound, so you'll have to pay attention to details like that when you're doing the question, but for now we're just dealing with simple. After 6 months, Millie withdraws all the money into from the account, and assuming that she hasn't spent any money while it's sitting there, the question is how much interest will the investment have made, and also what will the total amount of the bank account be when Millie goes to withdraw. Okay, so we got some really important pieces of information here. So to start, she invested $2,350 into the bank account. So that's the amount we started with. That's the initial amount. So as we took a look, P is our principal. That's our original amount. So this is going to be our P value. Okay. 7% interest, that's our interest rate. Okay. So, but that's given as a percentage. We need to convert it to a decimal. Okay. So 7% as a decimal, of course, you move the decimal place 2 to the left, 0.07. All right. And 6 months is the amount of time that the interest or that the investment is going to sit there for. But remember, the time must be given in years. Okay, so t does not equal 6 in this case, right? So 6 months is half of a year, right? So that means t is going to equal 0.5, right? So be careful. Make sure you're keeping your t values in years and you're keeping your r values as a decimal. Okay, so we have everything we need to use our formula to calculate the interest here. So our interest is going to equal the principal times the interest rate times the time. Okay, and I'll show my substitutions here. So of course, $2,350 for the p-value. The r value is going to be 0.07. And the t value is going to be 0.5 years. All right. So we'll go down, grab our calculator here. I don't even know what this equals. I have to use it myself. So 2350, 0.07 times 0.5 is going to give us $82 and 25 cents. Okay, so after 6 months, Millie would have made a free $82.25 for just letting her money sit there. So that's the answer to the first question. The second question is, what will the total amount in the bank account be? Well, the formula we use usually for this is just A equals P plus I, where A is our amount, our final amount. P again is our principal. I is our interest, right? I guess you could just call this total. Doesn't really matter. Oops. All right, so our total is going to be our principal amount, which was $2,350 plus our interest, 82.25. Right, so this is going to be 2,432.25. So the amount of money left in that bank account at the end of 6 months is going to be $2,432.25. Okay, that's it. That's pretty much as complicated as simple interest is going to be for us. I think the next part dives into compound interest. I don't want to start talking about compound interest today. It's going to be quite long. It's a bit of a harder concept to explain, and there's a bit of an activity that the book walks you through to kind of visualize it. It's a good exercise, but it's going to take us quite some time. So I think I'm just going to end it there for today. So it's going to be a pretty easy week for us. So the only thing we have to remember, I equals PRT. I guess you can pause the video here, if you want to have this on your screen for you. But there's only one question in the book that deals with simple interest. So the assignment starts on page 507. I only want you to do question 1. Okay, just do question number 1. That's all I want you to do. Well, I would like you to do more, but there's only one question on simple interest in the book. So just do question 1. Just make sure you're being really careful in picking your values for P, or not P. Well, yeah, be careful picking your values for P, but remember values for R and T. R needs to be in a decimal, T needs to be in time. So just make sure you're careful when you're walking through those questions and making sure you're setting that up properly. Okay, so next week will be a little longer. Just make sure you're good with simple interest, and we'll move on to compound interest next week. Stay safe out there, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.